Primarily, the main convention of short films is obviously that they are short, varying in length from anywhere between around 1 minute to half an hour, as defined by the BFI. They are as equally diverse as feature-length films, however commonly the main values of short films tend to differ as they seek critical acclaim because they tend not to make as much money. There are fewer opportunities to make money for a single short film, as it's not really fair to ask for the same cinema ticket price or DVD price for a film only 2 minutes long. Other main conventions of short films tend to be in consequence of their length. They quickly grip your attention, establish main characters and setting fast to leave a lasting impression on your mind. They need to do all this because you won't be watching the film for long, so they need to be memorable. I made sure my film reflected these sensible conventions so that I could replicate the successful formula I had seen in other good short films. Instead of following Todorov's normal narrative structure, as I had seen in many feature-length films, I decided to start at the point of disruption where Lucy is already in trouble. These quick enigma codes mean that my audience are immediately hooked to the storyline, and I don't use time setting up backstory which could be conveyed through flashbacks. A lot of films use flashbacks as a simple device to reveal backstory in a short amount of time, but I didn't want to be too obvious about Lucy's disorder and risk becoming disrespectful about the condition, so I felt using voices in small flashbacks was subtle enough to reveal her trouble without overtly placing the issue in front of my audience. Before I began planning my main idea for the project, I watched a lot of short films via YouTube and the Virgin Media Shorts channel to gain an understanding of the conventions of short films and to see what I thought worked. A film that really stood out and inspired me was Inside by Trevor Sands. Centering around a serious topic close to my heart, dissociative identity disorder, I saw how effective the medium of short films can be when trying to make a statement about something serious. I was inspired to focus on a similar topic in the form of my film Choose, which focuses on the eating disorder anorexia. I saw various interesting narrative structures from films such as A Favour and Identity, which inspired me to be different with my narrative. A film that obviously influenced my main focus of the split screen was Mixtape, which, although is a different genre than my own, is still a very well polished and attractive film that I am happy to take inspiration from. Similarly, before I started the film review and poster, I looked at real examples to gain an understanding of the conventions of these tasks. Specifically, with the review, it was important for me to read many others so that I would be able to replicate the writing style and tone of reviews so that mine sounded convincing. For example, I needed to remember that while I have to talk critically about my film, it is not from the perspective of a media student analysing academic use of equipment. I was writing as an audience member assessing its entertainment value, so no technical terminology. For the actual structure, I based my review on the Empire magazine layout, picking one specific review to replicate the format. Following the 4-column structure, various borderlines, about and verdict sections, and one image at the top. I looked at 3 existing film posters before I designed my own to get some ideas of what the conventions of drama-ish genre posters were, and what I thought would work for my own film. For the overall structure of the poster, I took inspiration from the film Cyberbully, as the protagonist in the centre made the character look vulnerable and isolated. I thought the same theme would apply to my film. Having the protagonist on the poster facing the front was a common theme in the posters I analysed and character-focused films, so that the audience can immediately relate to the character. Therefore, I chose to do the same with Lucy. My large main film title also follows the conventions I saw in my textual analyses. It is large enough to read easily, however doesn't take the focus away from the main character, who should be the focus of the film, and hopefully reveal subtle hints about the film. My film genre conventions are more difficult to define as it is a hybrid of many different genres. It has elements of drama with a realistic storyline that tackles issues affecting real people, while also making comments about a person's ability to adapt to their problems. But it also has a strong purpose. The main purpose of dramas are conventionally to entertain, not to inform as mine is. Therefore, Choose has characteristics of a documentary or self-help video, even an infomercial, given that its purpose is concisely to show that if you seek help, things will get better. Although the issues featured within my film could adapt themselves to common conventions of social realism, an average girl with a common problem in a working-class area going to public school, all realistically portrayed, I cannot define it as this either because its unconventional narrative and factual information are not conventional of this genre. But this hybrid of genres is actually quite conventional of short films, which tend not to adhere to one specific genre and are normally quirky, For example, A Favour could be a mystery or a drama, Inside could be a drama, thriller or horror, and Mixtape is a young romantic comedy. None of the short films I've seen perfectly fit into one genre, so I feel my film is quite conventional.